country.
All right, let's talk now matters financial inclusion. And digital credit service provider Tala now says it is seeking a debt financing of not less than 1.26 billion shillings to expand its portfolio. Now, I spoke to Tala General Manager Munyi Nthiga earlier on, particularly on the issue of daily interest. Let's listen in.
It is, and we've always used a risk-based pricing model. Where we look at the customer's history, we look at the transaction history, the data available about the customer, and even beyond that is we look at how the customers behave from a repayments perspective and all that. So all these things come in together to determine how we can price the loan. And therefore what we're looking at is, and what you will see in the future is us running out campaigns where we're encouraging our customers to develop sort of a behavior of partial repayments, early repayments, because these are the signals that we're looking at in making a decision on how low we can go on the payments. So essentially, think of it as purely risk-based. So the behavior and the signals that we see then inform the level of risk, and the level of risk then informs the price.
All right, now about 2 weeks ago, you got the license from CBK. This is one of those conversations that have been ongoing, and even before the regulation process started, a lot of people are complaining and saying that DCPs are not doing what they expected to do, or they're actually abusing the data they have. So how is this license going to change how you do business going forward?
The good thing is, is we are actually now regulated by multiple entities. If you think about it and you look back, the biggest challenge that we had in the industry, like you mentioned rightfully, is issues around data protection, issues around customer management of data, issues around privacy. And these are some of the things that actually had been addressed by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. And you think about it, we got licensed by the ODPC, we've got audited and we've passed that. And then secondly, now comes in CBK, that also is really passionate about how we manage our customers. And what's happening right now is we have close to real-time reporting on some of these incidences and how we are managing our customers. But more importantly, I need to mention that even before the ODPC Act was passed, even before the CBK DCP regulations came into place, Tala was already doing these things, had already implemented most of these things. And that is why it was, and I wouldn't like to use the word easier, but it was natural for us to make that application to CBK, and it was natural for us to submit ourselves to the ODPC to be processed as a data processor. And we've gone through all these things and we've come out as good.
All right, now you've talked about increasing your customer numbers by 3 to 5 times between now and the end of next year. Now the question is, what is going to be your approach? Because earlier on you mentioned, you talked about partnership, and maybe you can help us understand who are these partners that you are targeting.
So the thing is when we talk about 3x to 5x growth, we look at it in 2 different ways. You can either choose to grow the number of customers that you have, or you can choose to grow the loan ticket sizes with the current customers that you have. And both require different approaches. And what we're doing right now is we're looking at how can we do both, a blend of both. And therefore we do realize for our internal customers is for us to build better products for our internal customers, differentiated products that allow them to continue repaying, improving their behavior, and therefore their limits increase. And in that sense, then we are growing as a business. But also when you look at how do you bring in new customers? So traditionally, we've acquired our customers through our mobile app, right? Advertising online, download the app, come in, make an application. Very soon you'll see us going through USSD as well, which traditionally has not been a channel. So basically making it mass market. But most importantly is we do realize that we cannot get all the customers we need by ourselves. So we need to go out there and look for partners that are already serving end user customers who are making payments, who have a certain consumption behavior, but they've got a shortfall of cash. And then asking ourselves with those partnerships, how can we be able to plug in some of our products to work with them? And this comes from banks, it comes from utility companies, it comes from value chain, SMEs and all that. So what they're doing is going out there and looking at where are the gaps within some of these industries. So we've mapped out the utility space, we've mapped out the retail space, we've mapped out the banking space, as it were, and asking ourselves, where is the real opportunity for us to connect and then bring in those customers as well.
All right, now finally, as we wind up, there's something that you talked about, which is a 2.6 billion waiver, and I'm sure a lot of customers will be happy to hear this. Maybe you can help us understand what kind of waiver this is and how does it work, so that customers out there, your customers out there, have an idea of what they need to do going forward.
Actually, when you think about it, and this goes back even to the conversation about the credit repair framework that the president talked about. So interestingly, again, Tala had already started implementing some of these things even before it became a popular term in Kenya. And normally what we do is, because we want to encourage our customers to continue participating in our service. And the only way they do that is we make sure that they don't default. So where we find our customers are facing some challenges in terms of repayments, we engage them directly. And you say, hey, where is the challenge? So somebody would say, I'm sorry, there was a late payment fee that you charge me, can you waiver that for me? Yeah. I'm okay paying your principal plus interest. And we say, fine, we can do that, right? Yeah. There's a situation where somebody says, hey, I'm okay paying you the principal for now because that's all I can afford. Can you waiver the interest that we charged? We say, that's okay. But there are situations when you look at our data and see, this is a customer who's been with us over like 30 plus loans. Okay. There's no intention of defaulting.
All right, and of course, more details on that story will be coming up at 9 p.m. Of course, they talked about over 95% of their customers being return customers. And of course, over 70% of the loans that they are currently issuing to the market is going to businesses. So you have something to look out for during our 9 p.m. broadcast. And of course, we want to switch gears now and talk about electric buses. How do you commute to work every day? And to help me with this conversation, I'm joined by Jonathan Green, who's the CFO and co-founder of Busigo. Jonathan, welcome to KTN.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy.